Is there something that has stuck out to you over the years, like as being that most important thing that you've learned that's kind of got you on the trajectory that you're on today?
Yeah. Well, actually, I would say it's having a really healthy network of people that you really do look up to. So I've been very fortunate here in Chicago to have like a really strong network. And that's been very, very helpful in my journey. Finding that person, if you've got a challenge, an issue, something that you're really struggling with, having a network of people that you can tap into has really, really been very helpful and beneficial for me as an entrepreneur. To try to accomplish my goals.
Hey, this is a quick shout out from one of our awesome sponsors. Check this out. Thank you to Tracy and her team down at Tranquil Turtle Massage in downtown Coeur d'Alene. My wife and I see her and her team every single month for couples massage, and I'm telling you, it is the best thing ever. She specializes in Hanu infusion, Hanu ashiatsu, gua sha, and manual lymphatic drainage. If you need a massage to get you feeling good and relaxed, make sure to reach out to Tracy and her team down at Tranquil Turtle Massage. Also mention that I sent you, and you get $25 off your massage package. Also, check out CDA Brows and Body Ink, where Tracy offers the best tattoo brows and plasma fibroblasting tightening with the first ever Aurora Pro Plasma Tighten machine, not a plasma pen. And don't forget to tell Tracy that I sent you to save $100 on your next tattoo brows or plasma tightening. Kelley, you're a husband, father, entrepreneur. You're the founder and CEO of Tiege Hanley, Inc., which is uncomplicated skincare for men that's been featured in GQ, Men's Journal, so much more. Thank you for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I like to kick things off by going back a bit. You were born and raised in Townsend, Maryland. What was childhood like for you out there?
It was wonderful. I grew up typical, American youth. We had 2 seasons in Maryland. We had lacrosse and football. And so I did a lot of that. I grew up in the area of the Eastern Shore. So I spent a lot of time at the beach in Maryland and boating, fishing, crabbing. Of course, Maryland's known for having great blue crabs. And I had a wonderful childhood. And Maryland. What's interesting about Maryland? It's a little bit. They call it the Mason-Dixon state. So it's kind of like in between the North and the South. So it has a little bit of best of both worlds. Great, close to DC, Philly, New York. It was a wonderful childhood.
Oh, that's awesome. And so being an entrepreneur that you are now today, who was it that influenced you to kind of go into the entrepreneurial space?
It's a great question. I don't know. I don't know if there's a single person that was a influencer. I think the concept of controlling your own destiny, I think that was really kind of the motivating factor. And I think, a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, really do enjoy, having control over what the outcome of their workspace is. And I think that's what motivated me the most. And it took me a long time to get there, but it's really about that for me.
Yeah. That's so true. As an entrepreneur, that's what we want, right? We want the freedom to not ask for permission, things like that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
As I mentioned, you're the founder and CEO of Tiege Hanley, which has over 350,000 customers worldwide.
That's right.
I personally love these products myself. They're made in the USA. They're fragrance free and so much more. But for those who don't know, what is Tiege Hanley? How did it all come together?
We're a skincare company specifically focusing on men. And we do it through simplified skincare systems. So we really believe in a system. But a system could be simple for somebody. It might just be a face wash and a moisturizer. It may be a face wash, a nighttime and daytime moisturizer, and it may add anti-aging products like eye cream and serum. But we're a simplified skincare systems company. We give you everything you need in a box, and we are a monthly box, although our cadence is more around 35 days, actually. Most of our guys get a refill of product every 35 days. And we just help make it really simple for how you would utilize our products. We provide instructions, and we just talk the way guys, we talk guy talk over here at Tiege Hanley. So we help men understand how to take care of themselves. And self-care is a really important thing. And for many, many, many reasons, especially now coming out of COVID, it's really important that you embark as guys, as men, and we speak guys because we do focus on men's skincare. We just think it's really important to take care of yourself, and that's just one of many pieces.
Yeah. And the name itself, though, has got an interesting backstory.
Yeah.
Where did that name come from?
Yeah, it came from it's a family name. So it was actually, the Hanleys were in my grandmother, on my paternal grandmother's side. They immigrated from Ireland to Pittsburgh. They were, kind of Pittsburgh steel mill settlers, came in for work, worked, moving coal around when Andrew Carnegie, was created his dynasty, steel dynasty and train dynasty. And Tiege is a relative from County Cork from 1400. So literally right out of the family Bible. Just a name that I really liked a lot. I had a habit back then of collecting URLs, so I was able to grab that 5-letter Tiege.com many, many years ago. And I thought one day I would put it to use. And if there's a Paul Mitchell out there and there's a Vidal Sassoon, there's got to be a Tiege Hanley out there trying to help men look and feel amazing. So that's who we are.
Come on. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Why do you think that men struggle so much when it comes to the skincare side of things?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of reasons, right? I think the primary reason, Erik, is that men have, for a long time, not giving themselves permission to take care of themselves. So that can mean a lot of different things, right? I mean, and we try to stay in our lane and talk about skincare, but there's a broader topic, right? And it's a guy needs to come to grips with the fact that he, especially today, in what it means to be a man in 2022 and beyond, he needs to be willing to accept the fact that he's got to take care for, he's got to advocate for his health. And so I think like this concept, this mindset is taking a long time for guys to get their head wrapped around. But we need to give ourselves permission to do things that are important to live a healthy life. That's number one, the cultural changes that are going on. I think, and guys really don't have education around, skincare. We don't learn the way that, our ladies in our world, learn about proper ways to take care of your skin, moisturize and things of that nature. So we're a little bit at disadvantage there. And also we're kind of guerrilla style, us guys, right? I mean, sure. My grandfather, I remember he had silver hair. I used to call him the silver fox, and he had silver hair, and I noticed sometimes his hair looked very green. And I said, what's going on with your hair? It looks green, not silver. And he said, I've been using Comet on it to clean it because it's what I just use in the shower to clean the shower. I'm like, yeah, that's ridiculous. What man should be using, you shouldn't be using that type of stuff on your body. So we're kind of guerrilla style. We need to be reeled in now and then.
Wow. I love that. It's so funny. That's a great story about your grandfather. In the world of skincare and things like that, do you consider yourself an underdog?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think all entrepreneurs look at themselves as being underdogs. I mean, right. Who are we fighting against? I mean, I'm definitely a capitalist. I believe in free markets and a capitalist economy, but those big companies out there, we're aiming for them. We the Old Spices of the world and the Dove Plus Man and Degree and those companies and, the L'Oreals and Lab Series. Absolutely. I mean, I see myself to them as being, that gnat in the room, and every time that you can hear it buzzing, but when the lights go on, no one can find it. And I think we're just that kind of annoying gnat to those big, huge multinational CPGs.
No, I love it. That's awesome. I mean, and even just like as an entrepreneur in general, like there's not one single entrepreneur that I know of that hasn't failed. And you talk about failing leads to success. Can you tell me about your greatest failure along this journey that you've had? And in your opinion, how does failure lead to success?
Oh man, I mean, I'm so bullish on failure. I know that sounds crazy, but if you fail, it gives you an opportunity to really kind of understand what's going on that's right and what you're doing that's wrong. And if you can iterate on that and make slight improvements on it over and over again, you can just really get better. Biggest failure, I mean, it's so hard to kind of pinpoint something. I think I'll give you a general answer, not a very, very specific one, but like,
Sure.
Kind of weaving outside of your lane and trying to do things that are really kind of outside of your core competency. And so I think, us entrepreneurs, especially really creative ones, and I'm not saying I'm necessarily very creative, but a lot of entrepreneurs are extremely creative. They'll start trying to bite off more than they can chew and kind of swerve outside the lane. And I think that can be really hazardous. So staying focused on what you're good at.
Yeah. Hey, this is a quick shout out from one of our awesome sponsors. Check this out. Coffee, bacon, tobacco, pine trees. Is there anything that smells better? Believe it or not, there is, and it's a fresh leather holster. If you stop by craftholsters.com, you'll open the door to a safe and comfortable carry, not only for yourself, but your entire family. Look, they've got holsters for both concealed, open carry, semi-autos, revolvers, righties, and of course, they have some holsters for you too, lefties. And all of that at a reasonable price. You got to go check them out at craftholsters.com. It's so important to get focused, find your purpose, right? And start
absolutely.
So good. When it comes to, your career, you've been able to be extremely successful. What is it that drives you to stay successful or keep going at this point in your career?
Yeah, well, I do feel very grateful. I have a lot of gratitude for what we've accomplished. I don't know. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm a successful man in life. I feel like I've had a successful relationship with my wife. I think I've been fairly successful raising children, fairly successful in my businesses. I haven't found financial success. I still struggle, like most entrepreneurs, even I'm in my mid 50s. I still find, every single day, you kind of say, am I going to be able to, am I going to be able to make it this month? Am I going to be able to continue, forging ahead? And so I think, that kind of, fear is a really strong motivating factor for a lot of people. So it really is, wanting to be successful, that fear of the unknown and knowing that you've got a lot of responsibility and and I don't think I can ever really say I'm financially successful unless I sell this company. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, I get it. Like as an entrepreneur, sometimes you eat like kings and sometimes it's top ramen month,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Those years, being an entrepreneur, being a husband, being dad, it's a lot of busyness that's happening right there. How do you keep like your sanity through all that? And like, do you have a morning routine or habits you put into play to keep that thing?
Yeah, it's 100% habit all week long. Well, I would first say, Erik, and I'm sure it's true, with most gentlemen like yourself and successful people. I mean, I have a really solid home life. I have a very solid foundation and relationship with my wife. And so we're very clear about, speaking of what lanes to stay in, like we're very clear about the roles that each of us play within the family. And my wife is very, very supportive of me as an entrepreneur. And I think, any successful entrepreneur, they have to rely heavily. Any successful person, businessman or woman, they have to really rely heavily on a partner to help them. So for me, it starts out habits, working out regularly, eating right every single day. I've been having a joke recently about the Aqua Office, which is my bathtub. Okay. I spend a lot of time actually in the bathtub. Okay. I try to get in there 5 days a week, usually right after I get home. I call it the Aqua Office because I'm still working, and I have a very short commute. I have about a 10, 15 minute commute. So I have no time to unwind at all. So, and you know how difficult it is when you come in the door and you're all wound up and you have to go into family mode, and it's really hard, right? It's really hard to kind of like unwind. So I try to spend, if I can, half hour, I'm just trying to unwind. If I'm really fortunate, I'll get a chance to read. I'm reading Culture Code by Coyle right now, and like that book a lot. I'm going to read a new book about Sid Luckman, who's a famous Chicago football player. back in the 50s. That's my next book. But I try to unwind a little bit. So those are some of my healthy habits, and of course, keeping a good skincare routine.
Yeah. And it's so important, that family life, that almost separation. I've been working from home since 2015. So my office is about 15 steps up from the downstairs. So
Brutal.
that unwind time for me is okay. I got to take 10 minutes, turn off my work computer, and just kind of meditate and get into relax mode.
Yeah.
You know, I really try to go, okay, at 5:00, then it's family time, and try to turn off that phone. I'm not perfect, but I, try to get as good as I can on that for sure. When it comes to success and fulfillment, what's the difference for you?
Well, look, am I fulfilled or successful? I think, right. So this is the concept of success, I think, is very interesting, because I think, we're probably fairly similar, at least generationally similar in age. I think the way that our parents defined success was very different. It was very much about, I think it was very much about possessions and, work and title and those type of things. And I think today, people shouldn't be defined by their work. They should be defined by what type of person they are, what type of character they have. So I think I feel like I'm a very successful person. I also try to think about, when I think about success and purpose, I think about the lives that I am able to touch, both through my customers and through people at my office. So it's about family, having healthy relationships with people, trying to be the best leader I can be, and trying to help as many men look and feel amazing. Those are the things that I would define as success versus, purpose.
Yeah. When it comes to, your life and where you're at in your business and things like that, is there something that has stuck out to you over the years, like as being that most important thing that you've learned that's kind of got you on the trajectory that you're on today?
Yeah. Well, actually, I would say it's having a really healthy network of people that you really do look up to. So I've been very fortunate here in Chicago to have like a really strong network. And that's been very, very helpful in my journey. Finding that person, if you've got a challenge, an issue, something that you're really struggling with, having a network of people that you can tap into has really, really been very helpful and beneficial for me as an entrepreneur. I try to accomplish my goals.
The networking is huge. I thrive off this. I love talking with people on podcasts. It's why I started this thing. I'm fascinated with people's stories, and man, networking and business relationships is the way to go. I was a guest on Brad Lee's podcast, and he said, "Hey, look, man, relationships is the new currency."
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so true. That relationships, man, it's just huge. And I love that part of being an entrepreneur. Kind of an interesting, fun question I like to ask my guests is, if you had 1 year to live, what would you want to accomplish?
1 year to live. It's funny. I do get up in the morning and say that I'm thankful for having another day. Right.
Almost my same words.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, so it's kind of a scary thing. Yeah. Right. I mean, I have to turn and focus. If I only had 1 year to live, I would be focusing on my family and my job here, which is to be the best father and husband I can be. So if I only had 1 year left, I think I'd be pivoting pretty quickly. So I'm very fortunate. I do have great quality family time, but if it was down to 1 year, I'd get after that as much as I could. And I think, to be a modern male, I think of things that we're talking about as being a modern male. I think, trying to connect with your children, your siblings, and your wife on their terms, and not necessarily trying to make them to connect with me on my terms. And so, and an example of that might be going to a concert, which I've frequently and recently done, with some music that I wouldn't necessarily pick out with my daughter, or my son is in college. That daughter I just spoke to just graduated college, but my son is in college, and for me, it's about getting to go to the bar that he works at and spend an hour having a Coke or a beer with him. Yeah. And just, being there with him and being present in his life. So those are the things I'd really lean into even more if I could.
It's so important. One of the things that I do as a daily, thing for me is it's a goal of mine to wake up every day, right? So if I
Yeah.
wake up, I'm like, man, thank you, Lord, for another day to see and hug and hold my family. It's so important for that. Oh, man, what a great answer to that question, because it is. It's about getting dialed in and focused on your family, on that stuff. So important for you guys. For Tiege Hanley, what are you most excited about right now? What do you have coming up next, man?
What I'm excited most about is just our trajectory. We're 6 years in, Erik, and I'm just really, I am so fortunate where we are right now. We've had a very good year this year. There's a lot of talk out there. We're peak of the election season, which creates a lot of uncertainty. We have a lot of inflation talk, which creates a lot of uncertainty and destabilization. And there's talk about pressure on unemployment, although I think that's going to be our bright spot to get through this thing without it being, overly toxic for us. Although the price of the dollar and the rising interest rates are definitely negatively affecting businesses. But I think just, getting through this year, we'll be up 20 some percent, both in revenue and even more than that in sales. We're going to be making some money, which, I know that sounds like a really crazy thing to say, but a lot of DTC companies, especially venture-backed DTC companies, aren't focused on making money. They're focused on growth. And I think the door has really been slammed in a lot of companies that are in our space, in their face with, downward valuations. Cash is dried up. And I think there's a lot of hurt happening. I mean, you see it with some of these bigger companies like Peloton, and on and on and on. A lot of companies have, in our space and sub-space set categories within DTC, like the Shopifys of the world and the Recharges of the world, laying off people. So I'm just really grateful that we're going to have a great year this year. And then we've got a great innovation pipeline next year. So we've got great new products coming out next year. We have a very positive growth trajectory to go into 2023. So there's a lot of things I really like about where we are as a company and what next year looks like for us. We should do very, very well.
Come on. Oh, that's awesome. That's exciting for sure.
They haven't all been like this, though, Erik. We didn't do that well last year, where a lot of DTC companies were doing great in 21, second half of 20 and 21. We were not. We were just barely getting by and really took some debt last year. Fortunately, we've been able to manage that debt and pay it off, but and able to get through a hurdle. But there's a lot of companies that were doing really well last year and are struggling this year. And we, for some reason, were kind of flat last year, and this year we've been doing very well. So, I'm very grateful. And I think that's going to put us ahead of the competition. Back to your original question, I think the underdog is going to be kicking some ass next year.
Come on. I love that. So good. Now, you touched base earlier. I love to finish my show with a fun question. I'm a big music guy. You said that you were going to some concerts recently, but maybe not your typical music. But what's a favorite band or favorite type of music for you?
Well, I will tell you that that particular show that I saw a month or two ago was called Flume, and I went with my daughter Grace, and she wanted me to go to this thing, which is like a techno kind of DJ type of band. I also saw with her another guy, reggae guy called Stick Figure. Okay. Again, not necessarily straight up my alley. I've been to see Justin Timberlake several times with my wife, who's a big fan. Again, not really up my alley, but it's been a lot of fun. We also go to comedians too, so we see a lot of comedians in town, and it's been a lot of fun.
I think I saw a picture of your son with Kevin Hart, right?
Oh, my son is in the gig economy. That is the bartender's son who also goes to university here in Chicago. And he's in the gig economy. He walks dogs, he sits dogs. He works in 2 different bars. He works in a big chain liquor store. And he was with Kevin Hart just very recently. Kevin Hart came in to promote probably a tequila or something like that, right? All these superstars that promoting, it seems like, tequila, but so that's what's going on. And
That's awesome. Kelley, this is such an honor to have you on the show. You're an absolute world changer. I love what you have going on with Tiege Hanley. And I'm telling you, the products are amazing from my perspective. Thank you for, introducing me to this product, because it is awesome. My wife will be much happier than I'm actually washing my face on a daily basis for sure. But you're an absolute world changer, Kelley. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, man. Truly an honor.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the show today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to take a listen or a watch. It's truly an honor to be able to speak with such amazing guests, and I hope that they've made an impact on your life in some way, shape, or form. And you can do me one big favor that would be huge. Click that subscribe button, and then second favor, hit that share button. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate you. Keep changing the world.